Good morning class students. In previous class, third lesson animals and their food, I explained about food chain. No? I repeat about food chain. Food chain is the relation which shows about the relation for food. Already explained in the previous class, no organism can live independently. Correct or not? Every living organism depends on other organisms for food, for shelter, for mating purpose. In food chain, the interdependence, the dependence of organisms for food is known as food chain. And if you will observe in the nature, we can find out three organisms, that is producers, consumers and decomposers. Producers which produce food material in the process of photosynthesis. Consumers which depends on producers. Consumers again classified into different groups, that is primary consumer, secondary consumer, tertiary consumer, top carnivore, and also decomposers. They are recyclers. They are also known as cleaning surface of the earth. Example, fungi and bacteria. They live on dead bodies of plants and animals which decompose the organic matter into soil and supply valuable nutrients to soil. So soil to plants, plants to animals, no? So that's why they are called as recyclers. Next I will explain about another important topic, food web. This is very important in 8th class and 10th class also. What is meant by food web? Now I will explain the food web. Now definition of food web. Several interlinked food chains. Several interlinked food chains known as food web. Now I will explain the food web with the help of flow chart. See here. Now I will draw the flow chart which shows about food web. That is grass. Grass or green plants. So grass is the food for deer. Deer is the food for tiger. And next, grass is also food for grasshopper. Grasshopper is the food for frog. Frog is the food for snake. Snake is the food for eagle. Okay. Now, green plants are also food for rats. Rats are also food for snakes. Snakes are food for vulture. If you will observe here this is one food chain and this is one food chain and this is one food chain. So several interlinked food chains also known as food web. Do you know? Sometimes grasshopper also depends on lizard. Lizard depends on grasshopper. No? Next. Lizard was eaten by snake. Sometimes deer also was eaten by lion. No. Okay. Next. Sometimes directly the green plants are the food for frog also sometimes. So if you will observe in this flow chart, one organism food for several organisms, that is called food web. Several interlinked food chain is known as food web, and also in food web one organism is food for several organisms. If you will observe in food chain, one organism is food for another organism. So here green plants, deer, lion. Here in this Food chain, one organism is food for another organism, that is called food chain. If you will observe in food web, one organism is food for several organisms. So this type of, sometimes grass, rabbit also depends on grass. Rabbit is the food for fox. So in this flow chart, in this food web, one organism is food for several organisms, that is known as food web. If you observe in food chain, each level in food chain is known as trophic level. No? Trophic level. So this is the producer, first level of food chain, and this is primary consumer. Primary consumer. And line is the secondary consumer. So this is the simple food chain which contains 3 levels. If you will observe in this food web, the each level in food chain is known as trophic level. No? Here the each level in food web, that is like grass, deer, tiger. So each level in food web is known as niche. Is known as niche. So what the niche denotes, under the arrows in between of each niche known as the arrows. The arrows in between of each niche denotes feeder position. Feeder position. The arrows in each in between of each level known as feeder position, and mode of life. Mode of life, and how they get food. How they get food. So this is about food web. Do you know food chain and food web helps to understand about the feeding relationship between organisms, the interdependence of organisms for food explained by food web and food chain. So this is about food web. Okay, now I will explain about animal colonies and food. Do you know? Some animals including elephants to ants lives in colonies. For example, which animals lives in colonies? First one, ants. Do you know? Ants also lives in colonies. And honeybees. Honeybees are social insects, Sangajivulu. They also lives in colonies. If you observe in colony, we can find out different types in a single colony. Okay, in this colony, we can find out male, female, sometimes children also. So, animal colonies. In colonies, animals share their food one another. I will explain about animal colony with a simple example, the wonder world of ants. Do you know? Ants are the small insects. If you observe an ant colony, we can find out 3 types of ants. 3 types of ants. What that 3 types means? First type of ant is male ant. Second one is female ant. Male ant and female ant. And third one is worker ant. Do you know the worker ants collects food from other sources and supply to all colony members. So that is the duties of worker ants. Do you know these ants share the work? That's why that is called division of labor. Division of labor. If you will observe, ants feed on plant pieces. They cut the small parts of leaves and they gather the small leaves from plants and they keep the small pieces of leaves in their bed which they live, and this helpful to increase the fungus, a type of fungus which grow on leaves. So the ants feed that fungus. So that's why they share their work with one another, that is known as division of labor. Division of labor. We can find out division of labor in honeybees colonies also. If you look in honeybees also, we can find out three types of bees. One is king bee or drone, and queen bee, worker bees. Worker bees collects nectar or honey from flowers and store for future use. So here also in ants also we can find out three types of ants: male ant, female ant, and worker ant. Worker ant gathers food from small plants or leaves, and they arrange the small pieces of leaves on bed where they live. This helpful to increase a type of fungus which grow on a seed bed, leaves bed. This is the food for ants. So if you look in ants, we can find out division of labor. Means they share the work with colony members. So this is about the wonder world of ants. So in this class we learned about food web and animal colonies and food and the wonder world of ants. In food web we can find out several interlinked food chains, like this is one food chain and this is one food chain, this is one food chain, this is one food chain. Several interlinked food chains united together is called food web. In food web, one organism is food for several organisms. So this is about animals and their food. In the next class, I will explain about keywords, and I will revise the total topic once again. Thank you.